Alright guys, so we have a RC model Thomas. This model is from a subscriber. So I'm going to show you how to convert this model to 4.5 volts. Since we do not have the remote control, we are going to disassemble the entire engine, and we are going to make some changes to the circuit board. We're going to remove the circuit board anyways. So anyways, we gotta remove and disassemble the entire model. Remember, if you are an expert on this, you can skip this video and go ahead and watch something else. But this is for the majority of persons or kids that needs to do something new, you know. But anyways, so once we disassemble the entire model, remember we gotta take everything, including the wires, some wires. Now in this case I could cut the wire that I'm not going to need, but definitely I'm going to use later in another project. So that's the reason I gotta disassemble the entire model. Now remember, these two little tiny screws are for the switch. The white is the lever that goes in the switch, and we gotta remove these 3 screws on the what's this called? I forgot already. Oh, come on the electric motor gearbox. So anyways, so don't forget there are 3 screws on this model. Now we can open it and we have access to the electric motor. Now it is very important to disassemble everything so we can have access to the parts we need to rewire. So one thing is, we do not need a circuit board. We gotta get rid of the circuit board. In this case, please remember, be very careful. I don't want you to get burned. Do not burn your fingers. If you're a kid and if you can't operate these solder iron tools, please ask your parent or an adult that can help you with this. Do not even try to attempt. But anyways, so once we remove the wires, remember, not all the wires. We need to remove the wires that come from the electric motor, the switch, and the wires that come from the tender. Now there is on this circuit board, there is attached, as you can see on my left hand, my 2 lower fingers, the small finger, there was the sensor. I think it's infrared light, so we don't need that one. Now on the switch we remove 1 wire, and here on the tender we need to remove the orange wire. We don't need this. We need only the black and red wires. So as I was saying before, I'm going to have some use to this wire later on for another project. So we gotta save all the wires, because remember, there is not easy to find these wires here in the US. Okay, next let's put back the electric motor. We have our wires exposed, and we really need to assemble the gearbox. There are 3 screws, 1, 2, 3. Remember, we gotta show you all the process because there are so many people that they need to watch everything. So if you are an expert, like I say, you just can skip this part. And anyways, so we have the switch, next the lever, and the cover. And remember, these are the 2 tiny screws that we're gonna put back in place on this cover. Now as you can see here, the axle gear is broken, it's cracked, so we need to replace it. I'm going to use my trusty fork to remove the side rods, and look, it's free. What's the word? It spins freely. So anyways, we remove the wire, the tire and the gear. Look at that gear, crack it all the way. Now we have a new gear here. So once you put the gear, do it whatever the process you take. When we have the gear, we put it back in the tires, on the wheels, and it's in place. Now we put our gearbox all together, Don't forget to put the make sure it's the connector between the engine and the tender in place before you screw everything. Now let's use these little tabs where the wires were before, and we can reuse them again to keep in secure place these wires. Okay, now the next fun part. Here we are going to connect from the tender. There's the black wire and then the blue wire from the electric motor. You solder it. The next is the red wire that comes from the tender to the orange wire on the switch, and the last one is the green wire that comes from the electric motor to the red wire from the switch. And now we are ready to go. Now, in order to save or to protect, better words, protect the circuits, I mean the exposed wires, I'm using here a hot glue, and of course it will help us to keep it in place. There you go. Excellent. It's a little messy, but it's okay. It's gonna be covered by the shell of Thomas. Okay, next, don't forget to put those 2 screws. That's the only 2 screws that hold the shell. And for the tender, it's only 1 screw on the tender that holds the tender from the chassis. Next, we put our weights. These little weights, as you've seen in the video, and the wheel, front wheel, and the dumb. What is that? Dumb wheel? I don't know what you call it. Anyways, so let's put the back these screws. Let's put these screws in place, and we are done. It's very easy. Now remember, in the beginning of the video, this model it had only 1 side rod, so I'm going to use a spare from my other model. Here's another one. I don't use that, and we're gonna give this to our model, and we are done. Now let's see how it looks. Looks pretty fast. So I'm gonna make a test run in a track with another engine to compare the speed in the next clip. So far so good. So next, little race against Percy. As you can see, there is a big difference. Trackmaster models are slow, and we have our recently converted RC Thomas. Look at that speed. And even Thomas is in the outside track, which is his longer track, but now it's the same track. As you can see here, Thomas is going to catch up with Percy real soon. Well, that's the end of this video. I hope you guys like it.